Look around you for a second. Notice what you see, what you hear, what your bank balance says, what your body feels like, what your inbox looks like, what people have or haven't said. Now here's the question that changes everything. What if none of that is the final truth? What if your current reality is only an old echo, yesterday's assumptions playing on repeat, while the real power is happening inside you right now? Because it is. Your life is not being decided by what you can touch. It's being decided by what you keep accepting as true in your inner world. Let me say it in a simple, freeing way. What you assume is what you experience, not what you wish once, not what you hope for on good days, but what you quietly live from as, this is who I am, this is how life works, this is what I get, this is what's possible for me. Your outer world is like a mirror. It doesn't argue with you. It just reflects back what you have been holding as real, especially the things you keep feeling, replaying, and expecting. So if the mirror shows something you don't like, you don't beg the mirror to change. You change the face you're showing it. A short quote you may have heard before says, as within, so without. It's simple, but it's a whole law of life. The outside is the printout, the inside is the programming. When you truly understand that, you stop worshiping appearances. You stop treating temporary conditions like permanent verdicts. You stop saying, this is my life, and start saying, this is just evidence of what I used to believe. And that one shift turns panic into peace and peace into power. If you want a faith-filled anchor, Scripture speaks the same language. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. Notice how it doesn't say faith is a desperate wait. It calls faith a substance, something solid, something present now, even before your senses can confirm it. And another verse puts it even more boldly. Whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours, Mark 11:24. Not believe you will receive it someday, but believe you have received it. That's assumption. That's living from the in. Here is where most people struggle. They try to use the outside world as permission to believe. They say, once the money arrives, I'll feel safe. Once the doctor says it's okay, I'll relax. Once they text me back, I'll feel loved. But that's living by sight. And Scripture gently calls us higher. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Faith isn't pretending your problem doesn't exist. Faith is choosing a deeper reality than appearances. It's deciding, I know what I see, but I also know what I am. And what you are, at the deepest level, is not a victim of life. You are a creator through belief. Think about how your current reality was made. It didn't appear out of nowhere. It was built moment by moment by what you accepted as normal. Maybe you accepted that love is hard, so relationships became heavy. Maybe you accepted that money disappears fast, so it kept slipping away. Maybe you accepted that you're always tired, so your body reflected that story. No shame here. This is not about blame. This is about freedom. Because if assumptions created what you see, assumptions can recreate what you want. Let's make it practical. Imagine someone who has been unemployed for months. The bank account is low. The rejections are loud. The mind says, be realistic. But realism is often just loyalty to old evidence. If that person keeps assuming I'm not wanted, they carry that energy into every interview, every email, every conversation. They may smile on the outside, but inside they're bracing for another no. Now watch what happens when they choose a new assumption. Gently but firmly, I am valued. I am chosen. My work is needed. I am employed in a role that honors me. They start to live from that. They begin to walk differently, speak differently, apply differently. Opportunities that felt invisible start showing up. Sometimes through a friend, sometimes through a sudden idea, sometimes through a door that opens at the exact moment it must. The outer world rearranges to match the inner decision, or take someone longing for love. They might stare at an empty bed and assume I'm always alone. That assumption becomes a home they keep living in, even when someone good comes near. But if they shift to, I am deeply loved, I am chosen, I am safe to receive love, something changes. They stop chasing crumbs. They stop accepting half-hearted attention. They become the person who naturally matches a healthy relationship. And yes, the outside catches up. Not because they forced it, but because they became it inside first. This is where the phrase "your current reality does not matter" becomes healing, not harsh. It doesn't mean you ignore bills, deny feelings, or act careless. It means you stop letting the present moment define your identity. The present is only a snapshot. It's a photograph, not the full story. If you keep looking at a photograph and saying, "This is my destiny," you'll keep reproducing that same picture. But if you say, "This is an old picture, a new one is forming now," you reclaim your authority. There's a beautiful biblical idea that matches this perfectly. Call things that are not as though they were, Romans 4:17. That's not superstition. That's creative power. It's choosing the inner speech that matches your desired reality, not your current condition. Your inner conversation is always creating. Every "I can't," every "it never works," every "I'm not enough" is a seed, and every "I am supported," every "it is working out," every "I am more than enough" is also a seed. The harvest doesn't care how you felt on the day you planted it. The harvest cares what you kept planting. Now, let's talk about the main skill, persistence. Assumption isn't a one-time affirmation. It's a decision you return to, especially when the senses disagree, because the senses will disagree at first. They must. Your outer world is often slower than your inner shift. It's like turning a big ship at sea. You turn the wheel, but the ship doesn't instantly face the new direction. It moves gradually. But it will move. Your job is to keep the wheel turned. So what do you do when reality screams the opposite? You don't fight it with anger. You don't panic. You simply refuse to make it your God. You say, "This is temporary. This is old momentum. This is not my final." Then you return softly to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. What would it feel like if it were already done? Not someday. Now, relief, gratitude, calm confidence, a quiet joy. You let that feeling become familiar, like a home you live in. And from that home, you think, speak, and act. And here's the loving truth. You don't need perfect faith to start. You just need a new direction. Think of a child learning to walk. They wobble, they fall, they cry, but they don't conclude, "Walking isn't for me." They get up again because something inside them already assumes, "I am a walker." That's why they keep trying. In the same way, you are allowed to wobble. You are allowed to have moments where fear visits. Fear can knock, but it doesn't get the keys. You come back again and again. That returning is faith. Be careful what you keep rehearsing. Your mind is like a devoted servant. It will prove whatever you claim. If you claim "life is against me," it will collect evidence. If you claim "I am guided and supported," it will also collect evidence. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7, paraphrased. Not as he thinks once in a while, but as he thinks in his heart, where it becomes identity. So let's make a gentle agreement right now. You will stop using your current reality as your measurement of possibility. You will stop giving what is the power to decide what will be. You will choose an assumption that matches the life you want, and you will live from it. If you want health, you assume, "My body is restoring. I am strong. I am well." If you want wealth, you assume, "I am provided for. I always have more than enough. Money comes to me unexpected." And you know what's beautiful? You don't have to figure out the whole bridge from where you are to where you want to be. That is where so many hearts get tired. They try to plan every step, control every person, predict every outcome. But your job is not to force the how. Your job is to choose the end and let life organize the middle. Think about it like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every morning to check if it's growing. You water it, you protect it, and you trust what you planted. In the same way, when you plant a new assumption, you don't keep disturbing it with panic. You don't keep saying, "But where is it? Why isn't it here yet?" That constant checking is like pulling the seed out of the soil. Instead, you hold the assumption gently, like a promise. You let it become your quiet certainty. If you want another faith anchor, listen to this. If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes. Mark 9:23. It doesn't say all things are possible to him who has perfect circumstances. It doesn't say all things are
Possible to him who has everyone's approval.
It says possible to him who believes. Belief is not a mood. Belief is a dwelling place. It's where you live inside. And living inside the assumption looks like this. You start speaking to yourself differently. Not in a fake, hyped up way, but in a steady, loving way. When the mind says, it's too late, you answer, it is never too late for me. When it says, nothing changes, you answer, everything is changing for my good. When it says, you're not chosen, you answer, I am chosen and favored. When it says, look at the facts, you say, I respect the facts, but I live from faith, because facts can change, conditions can change, people can change, money can change, bodies can change, relationships can change, timelines can change. The only thing that locks reality in place is the assumption you keep returning to. Let's talk about the moments when you feel triggered by what you see. Maybe you open your phone and notice no messages. Maybe you get another rejection. Maybe you see someone else living what you want. In those moments, it's so easy to react and spiral and make it mean something about you. But those moments are actually a training ground. That is where your new self is built. When something triggers you, pause, breathe, and ask yourself, what would I assume right now if I already had what I want? If you already felt loved, would you panic about a quiet phone? No, you'd feel calm. If you already felt abundant, would you crumble over one expense? No, you'd feel capable. If you already felt secure, would you interpret every delay as a sign of failure? No, you'd interpret delays as detours that still lead you home. Then, gently choose that assumption, not as a wish, but as an identity. I am the one who is loved. I am the one who is provided for. I am the one who is guided. And you keep choosing it until it feels normal. That's the real work. It's a practice of returning. There's also something deeply healing you can do when the past tries to hold you. Because many people say, but my reality is based on what happened. And yes, something happened. Maybe you were hurt. Maybe you were rejected. Maybe you failed. Maybe you lost time. But the past only has power because you keep reliving it inwardly. There's a verse that carries a tender invitation. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing, Isaiah 43:18-19. Notice it doesn't say deny the past. It says don't dwell there. Don't live there. Don't keep making it your home. A new thing is possible when you stop feeding the old story. So if the past keeps knocking, you can do something simple and powerful. Revise it in your inner world. You don't change history on paper, but you change history in your heart. If you keep remembering an argument, replay it differently. Hear the words you wish you heard. Feel the peace you wish you felt. If you keep remembering a rejection, imagine it turning into acceptance. If you keep remembering a loss, imagine being supported and restored. This isn't pretending. This is choosing which seed you will water. And the heart responds to the scenes you keep feeding it. And if you're thinking, but is it okay to do that? Listen to how kind Scripture is about your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12:2. Renewing the mind is not just reading something inspiring. It's changing the inner pictures you keep returning to. It's replacing the old inner movie with a new one, until the new one becomes your natural expectation. Let me give you a simple example that feels very real. Imagine someone who always assumes people don't respect them. They walk into rooms already expecting to be overlooked. They speak quietly, apologize too much, shrink. Then they say, see, nobody takes me seriously. But what came first? The assumption. Now imagine that same person chooses a new assumption. I am respected. My presence matters. My voice is valuable. They start carrying that. They start sitting up straighter. They start speaking with calm certainty. They start making choices that align with self-respect. And without forcing anything, the way people respond begins to shift. It can feel like luck, but it's alignment, that the world is responding to a different inner claim. Or think of someone who assumes they're always unlucky with money. They expect surprise expenses, late payments, broken things. They almost feel safer expecting the worst because it protects them from disappointment. But that safety is expensive. It keeps reproducing the same cycle. The change begins when they decide, I am supported, money comes, help comes, ideas come, opportunities come. And they practice that assumption, especially when a bill shows up, not in denial, but in trust. I handle this. I am provided for. Then very often they begin noticing solutions they were blind to before. A new client appears. A refund arrives. An idea becomes income. A door opens through someone they didn't even consider. Not magic. Movement. Here's another gentle truth. Your feelings are your compass. They tell you what you're assuming. If you feel constant fear, you're assuming danger. If you feel constant lack, you're assuming not enough. If you feel constant loneliness, you're assuming separation. And the good news is, you can change the assumption by changing the feeling you're willing to live in. So instead of asking, how do I get it? Ask, how would I feel if it were already done? Then practice that feeling in small doses until it becomes familiar. Relief is a powerful feeling. Gratitude is powerful. Quiet confidence is powerful. Peace is powerful. These are not just emotions, they are states, and states create. And yes, your mind may protest. It may say, you're lying to yourself. But you can answer with love, no, I'm choosing. I'm choosing a higher truth. Because you're not lying when you say, I am becoming. You're not lying when you say, things are working out. You're not lying when you say, I am guided. These are not fragile claims. These are spiritual decisions. There's a verse that feels like a warm hand on your shoulder. Let the weak say, I am strong, Joel 3:10. It doesn't say, let the weak say, I feel strong today. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. That's assumption. That's identity. You're not waiting to feel strong before you claim it. You're claiming it until your life catches up. And if you stumble, if you react, if you have a rough day, you don't punish yourself. You don't say, I ruined it. You simply return. You come back to the end. You come back to the assumption, like coming back home after a storm. Because the truth is, you are always assuming something. Even when you think you're doing nothing, you're assuming. So you might as well assume in your favor. You might as well assume love, assume support, assume success, assume healing, assume the best. Not as a desperate chant, but as a settled decision. So right now, if the outside is loud, let it be loud. You don't have to wrestle it. You simply stop letting it lead. You let it be the old echo while you become the new voice. You can whisper to yourself in the middle of ordinary life, this is not my final. You can walk into a room and silently say, I belong here. You can look at your situation and calmly say, this is rearranging for my good. And when you pray from fulfillment, not from begging, not from panic. You pray like someone who trusts the giver. You pray like someone who knows they are he. Ard. And whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Matthew 21:22. Faith is not strain. Faith is rest. Faith is the quiet confidence that what you accepted within must be expressed without. So keep choosing your state. Keep choosing the end. Keep choosing the inner reality. Not because you're trying to convince a stubborn universe, but because you are aligning with the law that life mirrors back what you are being inside. And you can feel it when you do it right. The nervousness softens, the urgency dissolves, and something calm settles in you, like a deep yes that doesn't need anyone's permission. And from that calm yes, you begin to see differently, respond differently, move differently, move differently. And that is when the impossible starts looking unusually normal. Because the outer world doesn't just respond to your actions. It responds to your state. Two people can do the exact same thing, send the same message, apply for the same job, walk into the same room, and get completely different results. Because one is carrying an inner yes, and the other is carrying an inner no. One expects life to meet them. The other expects life to resist them. And life, so obedient, mirrors it back. So when you catch yourself saying, I'll believe it when I see it, gently flip it, I will see it when I believe it. That's not a slogan. That's a way of living. It's the choice to treat imagination as the womb of reality, not as childish daydreaming. If the world was built from the unseen, then what you do in the unseen matters more than what you wrestle with in the seen. And that's why those simple words I am are so sacred. Think about it. The moment you say I am, you're defining yourself. I am unlucky. I am forgotten. I am always struggling. Those are not harmless sentences. They are creative commands. But you can change the command. Why? Who can say, I am blessed. I am supported. I am chosen. I am guided. And you don't have to shout it. You just have to mean it enough to return to it. There's a verse that fits perfectly here. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 4:6-10. Stillness is powerful because it stops the frantic reacting. Stillness takes you out of the storm of appearances and puts you back into the place where you can choose again. When you're still, you hear your inner talk. And when you hear it, you can change it. So imagine a moment that usually triggers you. Maybe it's checking your account. Maybe it's waiting for someone to respond. Maybe it's stepping on the scale. Maybe it's hearing your family talk about your future like it's already decided. In that moment, you don't need a dramatic battle. You just need a quiet decision. You can whisper inside, that is not my identity. You can whisper, this is temporary. You can whisper, my assumption is stronger than my senses. And then instead of spiraling, you shift into the feeling of your chosen reality. If it were already done, what would you feel right now? Would you feel frantic? No. You'd feel steady. Would you feel needy? No. You'd feel secure. Would you feel ashamed? No. You'd feel worthy. So you practice that steadiness like it's your new normal. Let me give you a gentle example. Someone wants reconciliation in a relationship. Right now, the silence is loud. Old messages replay. Regret feels heavy. If they keep assuming it's over, I ruined it, I'm not chosen, their heart will speak that language, even without words. But if they choose a new assumption, softly, lovingly, I am forgiven, I am loved, our connection is restored, I am safe and cherished, something changes inside them. They stop stalking signs, they stop needing proof every hour, their nervous system calms, and then often the outer world starts to move in a way that feels almost surprising, like a door opening where a wall used to be. And if your mind says, but what if I'm disappointed? Listen, disappointment comes from living in the wrong future. It comes from rehearsing loss in advance. But you can rehearse victory. You can rehearse peace. You can rehearse being held, being helped, being provided for. And rehearsals shape performances. Your inner rehearsals are not wasted time. They are the blueprint. Here is another scripture that feels like direct instruction. Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart, Psalm 37:4. Many people read that and think it means be good, and maybe you'll be rewarded. But you can also read it as alignment. When you rest in the source, when you dwell in trust, your desires don't feel like painful cravings anymore. They feel like promises. They feel natural. They feel like something that belongs to you. And you don't have to pretend you don't want it. Wanting is not wrong. Wanting is often the sign that it's meant for you. But wanting with anxiety keeps you focused on not having. Wanting with faith turns into having inwardly. It becomes, thank you, it's done. Not forced gratitude, but the quiet gratitude of someone who knows. You can practice this at night when the world is quiet. Let your body relax. Let your breathing slow. And instead of reviewing everything that went wrong, you choose a new ending. You choose one small scene that implies your desire is fulfilled, not 10 scenes, just one. Something simple, a friend congratulating you, a text that says exactly what you long to read, a handshake in your new workplace, a feeling in your body like relief. Then you loop it gently like a lullaby until it feels real enough to soothe you. And if doubt rises, you don't fight it like an enemy. You hold it like a child. I understand you're scared. But we are choosing something new. Then you return again. That returning is the whole secret. Not intensity, not strain. Returning because the world trains you to believe only what you can touch. But you are being trained now to trust what you can claim inside. There's another line of scripture that matches this perfectly. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Isaiah 26:3. A steadfast mind is not a mind that never gets disturbed. It's a mind that keeps coming back to the chosen truths. And yes, the outer world may test you. It may show you the opposite for a while, like a last echo trying to convince you to go back. That's when you become very gentle and very firm. You don't argue with the echo. You don't panic. You simply keep your seat in the new state. It's like choosing a new language. At first, it feels awkward. You translate in your head, you stumble. But you keep practicing until it becomes natural. The language you're learning is the language of fulfillment, the language of being, not begging, the language of calm certainty. When you hear yourself say, I hope it works out, you can soften it into, it is working out. When you hear, maybe I'll get it someday, you can shift it into, it is mine now in the unseen. When you hear, why is this happening to me? You can change it into, this is rearranging for me. And little by little, the old self stops running the show. The new self starts leading. And I want you to remember this, especially on days when you feel tired, you don't need to lift the whole mountain at once. You just need to choose your assumption again, right here in this moment. Now faith is Hebrews 11:1, not later faith, not perfect faith. Now faith, the kind of faith that quietly says, even if I can't see it yet, I know what is true for me. So let the world look however it will. Ooks, today, let it be what it is. You can still choose who you are being inside of it. You can still decide what you accept as final. You can still decide what story you live from. And as you keep choosing, keep returning, keep dwelling, the mirror has no choice but to reflect back the new face you finally decided to wear. And when it does, you'll look back and realize it wasn't the outer world that finally changed first. It was you. It was your inner agreement. It was the moment you stopped letting appearances tell you what to believe. Here's something that will make this even easier. Stop treating your imagination like a place you visit once in a while, and start treating it like your true home. Because what you consistently feel as real inside becomes the reality you walk into outside. Your imagination is not wishful thinking. It's the creative workshop where your next life is being formed. And every time you enter it with faith, you are building. Your inner conversation is especially powerful. The little sentences you repeat to yourself all day are shaping your world. When you're alone, what do you tell yourself? Do you rehearse rejection? Do you replay mistakes? Do you argue with people in your mind? Do you imagine worst-case outcomes? That's not just thinking. That is planting seeds. So you begin to discipline the inner talk, not with harshness, but with love. When you catch the old story running, you gently interrupt it. No, we are not going there. And then you replace it with the new story. I am safe. I am provided for. I am loved. Things are working out for me. You repeat it the way you would soothe a child who had a nightmare. Calmly, patiently, again and again. And when you're tempted to say, but that's not true, answer this. It is not true yet in the mirror, but it is true in the seed. And if you keep watering the seed, it must become tea. Rue in the mirror. Remember the story of Peter walking on water. The moment he looked at the waves, fear rose and he began to sink. The waves didn't suddenly become more powerful. His focus shifted. The outer storm didn't change, but his inner state did. And that's so much like us. The moment you make your conditions bigger than your faith, you start sinking into anxiety. But the moment you return your focus to the unseen promise, you rise again. And even when Peter sank, he was lifted. That's the love of it. You are not abandoned because you had a fearful moment. You are reminded to look back to the source. So when you look at your life and see waves, don't condemn yourself for feeling something. Just return. Return to the end. Return to your chosen reality. Return to the assumption that supports you. A beautiful practice is to test your new assumption in small areas. If the big desire feels too far right now, start where it feels gentle. Assume that today people are kind to you. Assume that today things go smoothly. Assume that today you are guided. Then watch how many little confirmations start appearing. A kind message, a helpful stranger, a problem that resolves more easily than expected. These small proofs are not the goal, but they strengthen you. They help your nervous system learn. It is safe to trust. And don't underestimate the power of gratitude here. Gratitude is not just good manners. It's a state that quietly says, it is done. When you practice gratitude as if your desire is already fulfilled, you are stepping into the feeling of having. And the world always reflects the feeling of having. You might say, but what if my reality is really hard right now? Then listen closely. Hard reality is exactly when your inner choice matters most. Because if you wait for ease to believe, you'll always be waiting. But if you believe in the middle of difficult, thank you, you are practicing real faith. You are building spiritual muscle. There's a verse that is so simple but so strong. With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. People often read that like poetry, but it's also permission. Permission to stop limiting yourself. Permission to stop saying, This can't happen for me. Permission to stop making your past the judge of your future. Another powerful verse says, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened. Matthew 7:7. But notice, asking is not begging. Asking in faith is claiming. Seeking is not anxious searching for signs. Seeking is staying loyal to the end. Knocking is not desperation. Knocking is persistence. And persistence doesn't mean you force yourself to feel good every second. It means you refuse to settle into the state you don't want. Even if sadness comes, even if anger comes, even if uncertainty comes, you don't move in. You let the feeling pass through, and then you return home to your chosen assumption. Let's talk about timing, because timing is where people give up. They say, I tried for a week, I tried for a month. But trying still has one foot in doubt. Trying still watches the clock. Faith lives differently. Faith says, I have decided. The unfolding is guaranteed. Your job is not to rush the harvest. Your job is to remain in the state that matches it. There's also a subtle trap, comparing your journey to someone else's. You see someone else's breakthrough and you assume, why not me? But comparison is just another assumption. The assumption that there isn't enough goodness to go around, or that you are late, or that you missed your turn. That assumption will create more waiting. So you lovingly drop it and replace it. My time is perfect. My path is supported. What is mine cannot miss me. And if you need a calming truth for your heart, ho, LD this, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, Psalm 23:1. Think about what that really means. It means you are guided. It means you are led. It means you are not forgotten. It means lack is not your destiny. And when you assume guidance, you start noticing guidance everywhere. A sudden idea, a nudge to call someone, a feeling to apply for something, a delay that saves you, a door that opens at the exact moment you're ready. So instead of fighting life, you begin to cooperate with life by choosing the inner state that matches the life you desire. You become softer, not weaker, calmer, not passive, confident, not arrogant. Your confidence is rooted in faith, not ego. And the most loving part is this: you don't need anyone else to change first for your life to change. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect past. You don't need to be more worthy. You only need to choose. Choose the assumption that blesses you. Choose the identity that lifts you. Choose the inner truth you want to live from. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, okay, but what do I do today? Do this today. Protect your inner world. Be careful what you keep agreeing with. When you catch yourself accepting defeat, pause and revise it. When you catch yourself predicting loss, rewrite the prediction. When you catch yourself feeling unwanted, step into the feeling of being chosen. Then let your day be an expression of that choice. And when night comes, don't let your last thoughts be the old story. Let your last thoughts be the fulfilled story. Let your mind fall asleep in the arms of the reality you prefer. Because what you fall asleep feeling often becomes what you wake up living. So keep returning to the end. Keep living from the wish fulfilled. Keep letting your inner world be the place where your future is already real. And even if the outside looks unchanged for a moment, stay loyal to what you've accepted within. Because the moment you truly settle into the new assumption, life begins shifting, rearranging, aligning, surprising you in ways that feel gentle and inevitable. So hear me with all the love in this moment. Stop bowing to what you see. Stop letting today's conditions announce tomorrow's destiny. Your current reality is not your judge. It's only your mirror, an echo of the old story you once carried. And if an old story can be printed on your life, a new story can be printed too. You are not powerless. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not trapped. You are not defined by that message, that bill, that diagnosis, that silence, that delay, that mistake, or that season. Those are appearances. They are temporary. They are passing through. But what you assume, what you accept as true in the secret place of your heart, that is what remains. That is what builds. That is what becomes. So choose now. Choose with tenderness and with courage. Decide what is true about you. Decide what is true about your life. Decide what is true about your future. And then hold it, not with strain, not with panic, but with the steady peace of faith. Let your inner world become so filled with the feeling of fulfillment that it starts to feel natural, like home, And when the outside tries to argue, don't argue back. Just return. Return to it is done. Return to I am loved. Return to I am provided for. Return to I am guided. Return to the end you have chosen. Because the moment you stop making your circumstances your God, you step into your true authority. The moment you stop waiting for proof, proof begins to chase you. You were never meant to live at the mercy of appearances. You were born to live by faith. You were created to move from the inside out. So walk forward with your head up and your heart soft, knowing this: what is yours in consciousness must become yours in experience. The mirror will change. The world will shift. The doors will open. The healing will unfold. The love will return. The provision will come. Because you have decided, and assumption is everything, and unexpected ways. If you want love, you assume I am cherished, I am chosen, I am safe in love. Then you return to that assumption the way you return to your breath, over and over, until it becomes natural. And I want you to hear this with tenderness. You don't have to force the world. You don't have to chase every sign. You don't have to beg life to be kind. Your work is inner. Your work is to become loyal to the end you desire, to the truth you choose, to the identity you accept. When that inner decision becomes steady, the outer world must respond. Not because you are lucky, but because you are aligned. So tonight, or whenever you're alone, close your eyes for a minute. Let the noise settle. Imagine one simple scene that would be true if your desire were already fulfilled. Feel it as real. Let it be gentle and natural. Then open your eyes and carry that inner knowing into your day. The world may look the same at first, but you won't be the same. And that is the beginning of everything. Your current reality does not matter because it is not the source. It is the reflection. Assumption is everything because assumption is the source. Choose wisely, choose lovingly, and choose with faith. Then persist, not with strain, but with quiet confidence. You are not trying to get something outside of you. You are accepting what is already yours in consciousness. And as you hold it there calmly, consistently, the mirror of life will catch up and show you what you have finally decided to be true.